Here we are again. Dang, I just can't get over this. Graham Potter. I've never seen someone more deserving to be sucked than this guy. And yet, and yet, he is not going to be sucked. Incredible. To be honest, like, if you think this guy is getting sucked, you're delusional. That's it. We are being delusional thinking Todd Boehly is going to suck this guy. They are playing us like a game of chess. Incredible. Let's look at the Southampton game. This guy, the game ends, he gets insulted, shouted at by the fans, and see what happens next. The following week, something he had never done. He's doing interviews every day, interview and interview and interview, interview after interview, and he's what is he saying exactly? Literally nothing. He's just speaking gibberish. He says this, he says this, he says that, and then notice what happens. Sorry, what happens next is like a day before the Spurs game is like the press conference. Uh, Actually, my kids and I were sent death threats. I know I've seen some really awful stuff on Twitter. Or, I mean, you guys, you see how people talk sometimes in jest, like, but none of it was like a death threat. I've seen people say a lot of, you know, disparaging things about him and not about his kids. But you notice like the way I don't like this kind of thing like body language and stuff like that. But sometimes you have to read the room, like read the room. So you notice like when he said that, and the media goes crazy and the frenzy, blah blah. But did you notice like did Chelsea, the official page of Chelsea, they didn't say anything about that. They didn't post. They didn't say our manager stuff, anything. And yet, you know that when something like that happens, definitely the club has to put out a statement. Sterling, when he had his home broken in, Aubameyang, all these footballers, and yet your manager gets sent death threats, including his kids, and you don't say anything about that. I want you to use your brain and read the room. Do you think any club or even owners or anything goes their manager gets that kind of thing happen and they don't say anything? Hmm, interesting. And then what happens next is, of course, we lose to Spurs again, and then it was less drama than the Southampton game, but it was noticeable because hey, people are more afraid to be super critical of him and all. Then what happens is more interviews, is doing all this blah 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 blah, and he starts talking about. I mean, like he already said this before the Spurs game about mental health and stuff like that. Then he talks more about that, but this time instead of just talking about himself, like, he also includes now the fans and the players. It's like, oh, we're all suffering, our mental health suffers. Before the Spurs game, he was just like himself and his family, mental health and stuff. Now he's including the fans, and I'm thinking, dude, this is an insult to people who actually struggle with mental health. This is an insult to people struggling with bipolar disorder, how do they pronounce that? Is it schizophrenia? And I think it's schizophrenia, something like that. OCD, stuff like you're thinking that that's mental health. That's a little bit of stress because of your job. Sure, it's mental health, but it's you don't you can't like you notice how Tuco had a divorce, sanctions, and then because a bit of poor performance, the team were like going through a lot. He was going through a lot, and even people could tell like think something is you answer. All right, that is still like mental health. But when you put the word out there in the media, like that, that it doesn't sound as genuine as you understand. Because we all have like you understand mental health. We all like struggle a little bit, you know. But then you're thinking like this is a guy who's counseling training, who is doing all you know. Oh, there's no training today, and he's in the media laughing and all that. This this is a game of chess, man. This is a game of chess. They are playing chess fans like pawns, man, like pawns. This guy and Todd Boehly are playing chess fans like pawns. Like what happens after the Spurs game is like, oh, there's a petition to get rid of him and all that. So when they notice there's a petition, it means like fans now are even increasing pressure. They're going further than they thought. So what they do is, oh, we have given him 2 games, 2 games, 3 games, 2, 3 games, 2 games. 2 games is Leeds and Dortmund, and that's like what that's their season. Even Spurs was this way, like the season of Spurs game and Dortmund game. That was like Chelsea's season. Because if they would beat Spurs, then it would be like they go on a run, they could maybe end up making top four. Now that's done. That's finished. So now what's happening is the Dortmund game. They're like, oh, that's our target now. That's like if they get knocked out, then the Champions League is also done. So what they're saying is like, oh, we can sack him after there's when there's nothing left to play for. And then you are buying that. If you're buying that, you're delusional. That's crazy. There's no way they're sacking him after that. They want you to believe that because that has been their target all the time. Because when there's nothing left to play for, then they'll just be like, why can't we just give him preseason? They'll be like, well, we just thought of the season, it hasn't been good and all that. Or they'll just find another excuse. This has been going on for forever. Like you can't actually believe that. He's not getting sacked. And please don't talk of relegation. Don't think if Chelsea is in the bottom three or bottom four, he's getting sacked. No, he's not getting sacked, and I'll tell you why. Because Chelsea will not be relegated, and Chelsea not going to be relegated because he's going to do magic. And no, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. He's shit, and that's what he's going to keep doing. What is going to happen is that um, Southampton and Bournemouth are doomed. That's it. They're finished. They are going down no matter what. So that leaves one spot. One spot. Do you think that's going to be Chelsea? Either Leeds, Everton, or someone down there. Like for one spot, you can imagine that maybe West Ham, Leicester, and a few other clubs there, maybe even Everton, or even one of, or maybe Leeds, 3 or 4 clubs could go on a run. You understand? And get above Chelsea. But don't think 5 clubs are gonna get above Chelsea. There's gonna be one of them or 2 of them who are gonna be below, and one of them will go down. So Chelsea are not going down, and that's not down to ground border. That's down to Tuchel. That's down to the points he got at the beginning of the season, which was like we didn't actually start with like by Tuchel standard. That wasn't great, but the points he got there are the reason Chelsea are not going to be relegated. And not, you know what's going to happen? Graham Potter is going to take credit for that. He's going to, oh, we didn't get relegated. Or he's going to probably win one game. Of course, Chelsea have 31 points. They need 9 points to be assured of survival. Are they getting 9 points? I don't think so. Does that mean they're getting relegated? No, I don't think so. Like once we get 40 points, it's done. But 9 points, I don't think Chelsea will get 9 points. But that doesn't mean they'll get relegated because I know that Southampton and uh, what's it, Bournemouth are finished. Those ones are going down for sure. And when you look at that table, there's no way 5 or 6 clubs are gonna jump over Chelsea. It's not happening. You can say 3 or even 4, but there is gonna be at least one club to go down. That's not gonna be Chelsea. That's the only way they're surviving. And that's down to Tuchel. If it wasn't for Tuchel, if this guy had the season from the beginning, Chelsea would 100% go down. And trust me, maybe then football would suck him. But what is going to happen is like we'll be languishing in let's say 15th, 16th, maybe even 17th place around like 5 or 6 games to go. Then we might win one game out of the blue, one game, or even not even win, a draw with one of those bottom relegation strugglers, and then we'll be safe. And then you will take credit for it. This is this is Tuchel's job. If this is if Chelsea survives relegation, it's down to Tuchel. It's not down to you getting a draw. Yeah, you sick. This guy is not. He's not even stressed. When he was talking about mental health, he was just mocking you guys. He was mocking us. What kind of person is struggling with mental health? Like, not about. I don't want to talk about his money, 12 million or whatever. But you lost a game and you're laughing and you're talking. You have the dust talk about funds like they know nothing about nothing, something like that. And, yeah, like you're throwing jibes, then you're talking about mental health simply because you mentioned that you and your family were like and death threats. If someone threatened my family like that with death threats, trust me, it's gonna be visible. It's gonna be noticeable. Like you don't just mention it and then not care after that, and then the club doesn't say or do anything. Even the media, they just talk about it a little bit, and then it's because they achieved what they wanted to calm down the fan base to make you like, oh, don't attack him. He's struggling from mental health. Like the kids are being attacked with death threats. What kind of insane person even starts talking about kids? I'm sure there are people on social media who do things like that, but I'm saying that don't assume that someone can take advantage of it. You understand? Like people, crazy people like that who do things like that. This is. It looks like one of those situations. Then the moment they achieve what they wanted, as long as the fan base is calm, then they don't talk about it anymore. Ah, that's too good to be true. Like the man, like do you think they didn't even ask him about it after the Spurs game? No. I'm thinking because if they fans still like like they shouted at him at the Spurs game one, do you think he wouldn't have talked about it again? You think the club didn't even put out a statement. They didn't say anything. It's because they know, and they've been told. Like Boehly probably told them, like they know what's going on. This is a game, and I don't see how Chelsea fans survive this. I think it's done. Like because the guy is insulated. You can't criticize him. I mean, you can criticize him about football things, but don't attack the family. But talk about like you can't actually criticize him to the point whereby you are like brutally honest because you're gonna have we have seen people started being blamed for the death threats and you're like, dude, the guy just said the guy's not a good manager. What does that have to do with anything? Like how can you assume somebody went and shot someone in the street? Oh, it's because you say that people like this or whatever. Like you can't blame someone else for someone else's craziness. That's out of line. That's not okay. But like I don't think like we Charles fans you just have to fasten your belts. Like to survive this, it's gonna take more than a petition, more than people sitting back and criticizing or what. But like they you can tell what they fear. What they fear is fans. What they fear is what happened in Southampton. That's what they fear. What they want is what happened at Spurs. Lose and be calm and yeah, walk out, but be calm. Like don't because the moment they see outrage from fans, then they start panicking. Then they start acting like they want to act. No, let's say we are giving him 3 games. That's a lie. That's a lie. Come on, that's a lie. You don't even believe that. After Dortmund, you're gonna be like, he's not gonna lose the Dortmund game. I can tell you that. Well, he might lose, but I'm telling you why he's not going to lose. He's also not going to win. It's going to be a draw. It's scripted. It's a draw, and you know why it's a draw? Dortmund are going to know that this guy doesn't want to win, and Dortmund are comfortable with the draw. They don't need to win to qualify. So it's a scripted draw. He doesn't want. He's not going to go there to try and win because he's a coward. It's Stamford Bridge, but he's a coward. He's not going to want to win, and Dortmund would notice that. So it's a scripted draw, and the draw favors him because it's gonna be, oh, it's a strong team. We shouldn't have lost the first leg. Then yeah, maybe we would have a chance to qualify. Oh, it's so perfect. A draw is so perfect because a loss kinda will make him like, have no many good excuses. A draw is perfect. He achieves the goal of not qualifying because, and then he also achieves the goal of like having an excuse like, oh, we lost the first leg because we didn't have this guy and that guy. Well, people are just coming back from injuries. Idiot. It's scripted. It's scripted. That's a draw. Leads. It doesn't matter if he loses or draws, but it's definitely no winning. If you think he's winning, you're crazy. Yeah, I don't know what even to say. But that's it. Like, and it's even perfect for the owners. He gets to draw in both games, or even loses Leeds, then draws with Dortmund. Even if he loses both, then it's perfect. We don't have to sack him because we did our preseason. Then there's nothing to play for. It's a bad season. It's done. Let's forget about it. Let's see when he gets the preseason. It's scripted. I don't. I've never seen something like this. This is insanity. This is madness. This is what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that they're trying to act. It's scripted. This guy has secret meetings with Boehly and they talk about it. You know, it's after the Southampton game in that training, they were talking and laughing. Then when he came to the press conference, like, oh, I'm from a Christmas meeting. He wasn't joking. It wasn't like Christmas, but he's like, it's supposed to be a Christmas because that's what's gonna be in the media. But in that meeting, they were laughing and like joking. They were like, so how do we calm down the fans? How do we deal with the fans? How do we deal with what happened at Southampton after the game? That's what they were talking about. Do you think they were talking about? They're saying that, bro, if you don't win the next 3 games, I'll just have to let you go, even though I love you, blah blah blah. But I'm gonna sack you. No, he didn't say that. He can't even say that. You can tell. You just look at his body language after at the Spurs game. Even when we went 1-0 down, I think he was bothered, and you can say, oh, that's his personality and all. No, stop lying. We have seen people who are reserved. We have seen there is what they call being comfortable. You can tell when someone is comfortable and doesn't care. No matter how reserved they are, you can tell. This guy is treating us like stupid. How everybody can see that? Like, there's no way right now. There's no way anyone believes what is coming out of his mouth or Todd Boehly's mouth. Anything that he says in the press conference has been talked about with him, like with Todd Boehly. They talk about like with this mental health things like that. Oh, we are suffering the funds. And all. Some of these things are not just his words. This is scripted. This he wasn't talking like that. Well, there is no way you believe that he's just talking in circles, and then they say, why do you think they would bring up Ateta, Klopp, and all that? That's a script, man. Who would even if you're on the blink of sacking someone, why would you bring up that? No, and he knows, and even Graham Potter also brings it up in his press conference interviews. He says that, oh, Ateta, blah blah. That's a joke, and you know what? That's called circular reasoning. If A is true, then B must be true. That would be true. It would make sense if every single condition and factor was the same. If they're not, then it can't be. It can't be. Like Arteta didn't spend 600 million within 6 months, or maybe one transfer window or all that, or maybe two transfer windows. He didn't have the same level, the same squad compared to Chelsea or with Arsenal when he arrived. And they were not even in the same position when he arrived. They were not fifth. We were fifth or fourth when this guy took over. And they didn't have the same standards also. And it was they didn't have the same. Arsenal had been like finishing fifth or sixth for a couple of seasons under Wenger. They hadn't even won a league in how many? They hadn't even won major besides the FA Cup. Then they won a major trophy, a, a big trophy like the league. Like what? And this guy works into a team that won the Champions League less than 11 months ago, and then you put that in relegation form, and then you add 600 million to that, and then put them in relegation form. Then you talk about like mm, about injuries. Yeah, those are good excuses, but when they do matter, not when you're losing to Southampton. No, like this is insanity. Like when the players are injured, oh, it's the injuries. When the players are fit, oh, it's too many players. What training? Who even, bro? What does too many players in training have to do with performance on the pitch, which is the same as the previous game, even the same as when the players were injured? Because you could just pick the players you know that you would want to feature and they train, and then the ones you know that they're not in your plans, they train together a little bit, like I don't know, small goals or something. I don't know. I don't. This guy will, he's a he's running out of excuses, but he's not. He's never really gonna run out of one because Todd Boehly is gonna keep providing more. They're about to start. Which they blame Tuchel, and then they blame the previous board and all that. I mean, the effects. Every institution you walk into, you'll have like uh, pre-existing effects, like things that happened before the previous whatever effect. But how about the good ones? You haven't mentioned the good ones from the previous board from Tuchel. You turn Rhys James into a chocolate bar. Like he can't do shit. Like he can't do anything. He's staying on his box and he's in his own box and doing nothing. Zage is playing wing back. Chilwell is like lost. He's like, they are playing us like a game of chess. This is crazy. There's no way anyone believes this guy is getting sacked after Dortmund. That's what they want. If you fall for that, it's done. It's game over. And then from there, you'll be like, relegation, oh, blah, blah. Then he's going to take credit for that. I said you from relegation. This guy is so shameless. But well played, well played. No, you got to give credit where it's due. Graham Potwat, I call him. He's Potwat, me, and this Bolly guy. At first, we were like, yeah, how do you spend all that money? This guy is serious. But now I'm starting to realize this guy, they might they might have an inside job. They might this is I'm starting to realize why the UK government picked them. Because the way they are taking this, if we are not careful, they might achieve maybe the UK government's goal, whatever. Because if we get relegated, they might never allow it to come back. Maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted to liquidate the club and all that, but they had no legitimate reason. And now they found one, but even to make sure that they kept spending the money, but take it down in a way that no one will have a complaint. That's insanity. Well, I don't know. That's just my conspiracy theory, but it's looking ridiculous. There's no there's no good reason to believe in this project, to believe in this guy. But like, I mean, you could get sacked at Southampton for this kind of form at Everton, at any club, even out of the Premier League for this kind of form. And this is a 1.4 billion squad, 2 wins in 16 games. You crazy? How many managers have been sacked in the Premier League this season? So almost 10, almost half of the Premier League have been sacked. That's including teams at the bottom. Some of them have sacked 2 managers this season, and they are bottom. They got 6 points from us. They're bottom. Sacked 2 managers, and this guy is here and telling phones you know nothing about nothing. Shut the fuck up, man. Like you could get this just team and have no manager at all, no manager at all, and they would do much better than they're doing right now with this clown in charge. It's demoralizing. You know, every single time they go for halftime and come back for second half, it's flat. They come back worse. They don't play that good in the first half, but they're kind of like okay. The moment they go to halftime and you talk to them, it's finished. That's why I'm starting to think that it doesn't give match the pre-match speech. I don't think it does. So that's why there's a bit of motivation and then halftime maybe he talks to them and you see sickness. That's crazy. That's a special kind of skill. How do you manage to make something that is bad worse to the extent that it's unrecognizable? Anyway, we will see. I gotta go.